We are at Everglades Holiday Park and waiting with our tour group. Augustine right here, the man with our hat. He is going to lead us to the airboat. I mean the airboat next. You can see the airboat out there. Okay, so we are waiting to board an airboat at the Everglades Holiday Park. Wait. We are waiting to board the airboat at the Everglades Holiday Park in Miami, just west of Miami.
No, I have one I used to live on it. I live out in Closed. Yeah, I've traveled around quite a bit. Closed, where's that? It's about 60 miles straight west. It's not a bad drive. One stoplight all the way here. I watch my news all the way here. Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah.
Okay, we are heading to our airboat, following the captain in orange shirt. Must be this one.
How many do you have?
Four.
You just want to take that whole road?
No, can we take over this one?
Go right here on this side. Yeah.
Thank you. Watch your head right now. Go inside. Put it inside. Yeah.
Oh, you can fit here, Vivian. You can fit.
Let it sit outside. Okay. Sit outside. Okay, you get a window seat. Mommy, go. Mommy, go in here. No, I need to.
I won't lie down. I want to sit on.
They're a lot more noisy outside than they are inside. It's really loud back there in the corner.
Yeah.
Again, welcome to the Everglades. My name's Captain Ron. This is an Everglades tour, however, I always gotta tell people that, so don't be disappointed they don't see alligators, but they're coming out quite a bit. They are. I saw some pretty good ones last time. This is only supposed to be a 30-minute tour, so it's kind of quick, but I think we might have some good luck. There's a couple safety things. You want to keep your hands out of the water, because if you saw those fish walking down along the dock, they're Oscars. They're part of the piranha family.
Oh.
And you used to seeing them about this big. These guys get this big, and they're carnivores. And if you hold your hand like 3 inches over the water, they'll jump up and try to grab your finger. And they'll take your finger. Not the man-eating kind, but they're the man-tasting kind. So you kind of want to be careful of them. Because like I say, they get this big. I've never seen them this big. I used to look at them in fish tanks. And that sawgrass, when we go by, it's just like that. You can touch it if you want, we get close to it, but don't grab a hold of it. It's got serrations that go up this way. If you grab a hold of it, you're not going to be able to pull it out of the ground anyways. It'll cut you right to the bone. It's really sharp.
Oh my God.
So that's nasty stuff. We don't want to do that. And then life jackets are up here. I got to tell you about those. But if we did have a problem, we're going to be like in between 1 foot of water and like 6 foot most of the time. And if there was a problem, I'd put it in that sawgrass. That sawgrass only grows in water between 1 and 2 feet deep. There's 21 other boats out here. We'll only be the maximum like 3 miles from this place, so it's not a problem at all. Don't get in the water. Get on the roof. No, I'm kidding. And just a more serious note, God forbid, there's a medical emergency in here, you let me know. And I can see down both sides of the boat. I just can't see in here. And just an example for it, I had a little boy in here a couple weeks ago and he had a seizure. But we had procedures and stuff. We got right back, no problem. Everything worked out great. But it's like always prepare for the worst, and we're going to have the best. But that's the only thing I'm nervous about a lot. I didn't think about a whole lot before that happened to me. And I've been doing boats for 22 years, you know, so never really been in a situation where that could happen. And it did after 22 years. And I'll come on any point of interest, I'll come up on it with this twin engine design. I can spin this boat on a dime. So no one's going to miss anything. People on that side will be able to see what's going on over here and vice versa, but I'll bring the boat on both sides a couple times so you have plenty of opportunity to get your pictures and so forth. All right? That's it. Get out of here. What's up, Randy?
Here we go. It may shake. You never know.
And you might lose your phone.
I won't.
Again, I'd like to welcome you again one more time to the Everglades at Holiday Park. My name is Captain Ron, and you are aboard Stump Jumper. As my goal by the time we come back from this short tour, you have a better understanding of just why the Everglades is so important in our lives here in South Florida. There's also some interesting tidbits about the wildlife, the gators and the birds, as well as the plant life. All three of those things come together, their own special part in this ecosystem we have down here, and it's really special. A lot of people are under the impression this is a big old swamp, but it's not. Our first point of interest are these little black birds up here at the end of the way. You see them sitting on top of those buoys. They are called double-breasted cormorants. Now they're fun to watch. They're definitely water birds. They'll find these guys in salt and fresh water. This is 100% fresh water here. Their diet consists totally of small fish they catch live. And they are mature in size. These birds get between 11 and 12 pounds, wingspan, right around the neighborhood of 22 to 32 inches. And they're very dense in body mass. They're all muscle. So if you notice that guy that just ducked under, they sit very, very low in the water. And to the right-hand side, you look up there on the left of the bank, right past those yellow buoys, that black log-looking thing, that is a 14-foot alligator. He just has his tail out of the water. He is a monster. We call him Goliath for obvious reasons, but that alligator never comes out past these buoys. When I spin around here for the left-hand side, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about with that gator along the water's edge. Now I hope to get a lot closer than that to some of these alligators, but they all count. They're living dinosaurs. Now these cormorants, they'll swim along in the water, they'll stick their head down and they'll see a fish. They'll dart down and grab that fish in their beak, but they have to resurface to be able to eat it.
I don't see him.
They'll come back to the surface, they'll flip that fish up in the air, catch it in their mouth, and swallow it whole. Now, these birds, they can dive 35 to 40 feet deep at speeds between 30 and 35 miles an hour. So the story goes, the Seminole Indians, that's an Indian tribe that's occupied this area for well over 750 years, and they still do today. They would take these little birds, tie a string around its neck, send it out and catch a fish and resurface with it. But couldn't swallow it because that string. They needed to take that fish right out of that bird's mouth. Well, there's no way you get away with doing something like that today.
What is it outside? It's okay. What do you mean?
To tell you a little bit about these boats and the operation we have going on here. The same family has operated and owned this business for 35 years. Original owner, the father, custom designed these twin engine boats, and they're ingenious. The fact they're very maneuverable. They can spin right out of time. We are the only airboat company in the country that operates these twin engine vessels. Actually, we have 22 of these boats in service. They are manufactured. They're fabricated right here on the property. We have a facility out to the rear. This particular boat is powered by twin Cadillac 525 cubic inch big block engines. These engines originally came out in your 1970 to 1974 Cadillac Eldorados. Now these aren't old engines, they're new engines with good old-fashioned technology. For the fact they are naturally aspirated, carbureted, and no computers. We use these motors because they're very reliable, yet really, really durable. But for the most part, they're powerful. Each engine back here puts out about 475 horsepower for a total of 950 on board, but even more so than that, they produce massive torque. Each engine back here puts out about 575 foot-pounds of torque. And that's what we need to spin these big propellers. I'm coming down here setting up for our first speed trail. I'm going to warn you, it's going to get a little loud and rowdy for a short amount of time. So you may want to plug your ears if it becomes uncomfortable, but it's only about 1.75 miles long. Also, you're going to want to secure any loose items, hats, sunglasses, cell phones, children, loved ones, because if anything does blow out, I'm not supposed to turn around. For the fact the company marked this a one-way for safety reasons due to the amount of traffic we have. Also, we come to the other end, I'm going to slow down. The nose is going to drop as it comes off a plane, we call it. You don't want to rest your feet on top of those girders on the bottom of the floor there, those high areas. Any bags you have, purses, anything you want to put in your lap if they're on the floor or put them in the seat next to you. Because there could be a small amount of water come forward from the rear of the boat due to the prop push when I decelerate. I hate to see you get wet feet. I'll remind you at the other end. That said, hang on tight. We'll take off here in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. It's a man-made canal. It was actually dug out by the Army Corps of Engineers between the years of 1925 and 1929. You see, they thought the Everglades was a swamp. They wanted to drain it for development purposes. But as we all know, it takes our government just a little bit of time to figure things out. So after about 3.5 long years, they realized it was an impossible feat. For the fact the Everglades is not a swamp. The Everglades is actually a river. The Everglades is actually the slowest moving river in the world. It moves at a rate of about 1/2 mile per day. So if you were to take off walking normal pace, about 15-20 minutes, you will will travel as far or further than this river does in 24 hours. The Everglades is also known as the widest river in the world. Its extreme measurement, the furthest length apart east to west, is about 70 miles wide. Now this river begins up northeast corner of Florida, just below Jacksonville. It starts out as the St. Johns River and proceeds south. There's many tributaries that add into it along its journey south. Just to mention a few you may recognize, maybe the Indian River, the St. Lucie River, the Crystal River, the Kissimmee River. Like I say, that's just a fraction of them. Well, they all come together and they empty into that big old lake in the middle of our state called Lake Okeechobee. Now that lake, as well as here, is 100% fresh water. And the Army Corps of Engineers, they control that too. They try to maintain safe levels of a minimum of about 9 feet for safe vessel passage, as well as a maximum right about 16 feet for the safety and integrity of the dikes, the levees, the dams, and the locks that surround Okeechobee. So, all day, every day, all night, every night, they are discharging small amounts of water down here into the Everglades to maintain its constant river flow. Therefore, this water does not become stagnant. Now, about 40 miles south of here, the water turns to what we call brackish water. That's a mixture of salt water and fresh water. Then about 30 miles south of that, it turns 100% salt water just east of Naples and north of Everglades City, as it flows back into the Gulf of America, the Florida Straits and the Florida Keys, Biscayne Bay, Bay of Miami, and the Caribbean. Now these two islands we're passing between right here, they're man-made islands. They were created from the result of digging that canal we came across. These two birds on the right left-hand side, they're vultures. They are black American vultures. They're one of the two species that we have out here in the Everglades. We should see some more down in the trees, hopefully. Now there was a rather large alligator in here this last tour I did. Because his den is just up in the front of the boat. These alligators, they find a place that they call home. They usually stay in the general vicinity until they're challenged by a more dominant alligator. These alligators are acting kind of screwy right now because it is the beginning of mating season. So they're kind of traveling around, if you know what I mean. So all we can do is look for them. It's up to them if they show themselves. We cannot mate, call, feed these alligators in any way. Florida has a law. It's called manipulation and molestation of an alligator. And if you're caught guilty of doing any of those things, the fines begin at $10,000 and 6 months in jail. So they're very, very protective of the alligators because they are probably the most important predator to the Everglades, as like the shark is to the ocean for the ecosystem. Covers a massive area. It covers about 1.5 million acres of South Florida, about 2,350 square miles. And about 70-75% of it's covered in this sawgrass you see all around us. Hence the name Everglades is the endless river of grass. Now these two man-made islands, we call them Vulture Island 1, Vulture Island 2 for the mere fact tonight about 6:20 when that sun begins to set, they become home to, last count, between 425 and 450 vultures. Now the two types we have out here, like those two we saw when we first come in for the left side of the boat, there was a black American vulture. That vulture is all black except the males have a white wingtip on the underside of their wings. They get a wingspan between 5 and 10 feet. The other type we have is a turkey vulture. That vulture is more commonly seen up through the Midwest in the upper 47 states. Slightly smaller, has a 4 to 8 foot wingspan. It has an all dark brown body, almost black, but has a distinct red head. And these vultures play a very, very important role in the ecosystem out here for the fact they're kind of the caretakers, the cleanup crew, the janitors. Because they only feast on dead, decomposed carcasses of animals that have recently met their fate. They do a very good job. If you notice the neutral smell out here, up to the left-hand side, that blackbird you see at the top of the trees, looks a little bit like that double-breasted Cameron we saw at the beginning. However, it's a distant cousin. This is not a water bird. He hangs out in the trees, eats more vegetation and bugs than anything. That's called the black mahinga. This bird you see right here to the left-hand side, that is the sitting in that tree with the brown body and the white head and the white breast. That is a North American osprey. That's my favorite bird out here. That bird rates right there with the hawk, the falcon, the eagle is definitely a bird of prey. That bird eats live kills that he makes himself. He'll hunt over water and over land. Has 2 powerful talons, 1 on each feet, 3-toed, very strong, very sharp. Over water, what that bird will do. What that bird will do is it'll circle over its prey, get his eye on a fish, dive down at speeds between 60-65 miles an hour, has the ability to close his lungs off just prior to hitting the water, can dive 4 to 6 feet deep, snatch up his prey in those powerful talons, resurface and fly off with it. Usually there's vultures down here in these trees, and I can't believe there's none down here. They all went to work Saturday morning. With that said, I'm set up here for our second speed trail. It's really short, 300 yards long is all. So this will get loud for a short period of time. Remember, fastening loose items so nothing blows out. And I'll remind you about your feet at the other end. With that said, we'll take off here in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Watch your feet right here. Now this area we settled in here has some historical importance to it. It is a natural area. Now, there's 2 Indian tribes that have occupied this area for more than that 750 years, and they still do today. One is the Seminole Indians, the other one is the Miccosukee Indians. Now they would use this geographical location to meet several times throughout the year for centuries, to exchange goods, to trade amongst one another. Now they don't do it anymore more for the mere fact. I think it's because they all use Amazon. However, every year, 1st of August, both tribes will meet out here, exchange gifts, trade amongst one another, have a big ceremony to honor their ancestors and elders as well as pay tribute and pass on to their younger members the customs and courtesies and traditions. Side with the yellow chicken feet, the purple body, yellow beak. I call it a red goatee around his beak. That's called a purple galliano. That's the male of the species. They're native to Florida. They're very friendly. I can't tell if that's his head or not back in the grass. Side, you see it back in there, they're masters at camouflage. Now you can judge the length of an alligator by taking the distance from his nose to his eyes. You take that in inches and turn it to feet. So he's looking about an 8-9 foot alligator. So pressed on time. I wasn't supposed to come out here far the Everglades. I was supposed to just take that canal straight on back. But I know there's no alligators out there. This was the closest one for us to see.
Where is he at?
He went under, I don't know.
Is he still up there?
I don't see him.
Yeah, he's still there.
Where is he
So
at?
good, you guys got to see it.
Oh, there he is, right there.
They do exist out here, and that's a living dinosaur. They've been around for about 30.5 million years.
Right there, right there, right there, right there, right there.
I just think it's incredible when you can see an animal like this in its own natural habitat, its own environment, unprotected. This is not a sanctuary or a preserve, it's a water management district.
Well, what video?
fish in the water, but only the
They're
eyes.
still up in there. But like I say, they're masters of camouflage. See, alligators aren't nearly as aggressive as they're made out to be. Now, their cousin, the crocodile, is 10 times more aggressive at least.
Right there, boy.
The alligator's a opportunistic eater. Meaning the fact that an alligator will only kill for 2 reasons. Number 1, if they're hungry. Number 2, if they feel threatened. And an alligator can go up to 6 months without eating. Kill just to kill. An alligator wants to kill its own meal. It wants something fresh. And a crocodile will just kill to kill, hide it, maybe come back later, eat a little bit once it's rotten. Might not even come back at all, just kill something else. They're aggressive in the fact, where they'll actually hunt, where they track down their food. An alligator lays in wait. Like I say, they're opportunistic. They'll lay on the bottom of the water with their mouth open, wait for the fish to swim closer in it, they'll smack shut on it. Or they'll lay camouflaged in the grass and wait for some unfortunate animal to come too close and they'll snatch them up with that 2,500 pounds of force. That's why you hear those stories about someone walking around a body of water, an alligator jumps out and grabs him or their dog. Well, we teach everyone in Florida, if you live around any kind of water, fresh water, that's what alligators are. They can't live in salt water. You have to treat every fresh body of water like it has an alligator in it. You have to be alert, aware of your surroundings. I put money on the fact those people that get snatched by an alligator by a lake, they're walking around, they didn't see him, and they startled that alligator. You just need to pay attention to your surroundings. How many ever heard of anyone getting eaten alive by an alligator? Not saying it can't happen, but it has not happened. We're not on their menu. I'm set up here for our last speed trial. It's not as long as the first, but it's longer than the second. So again, I'm going to get loud here for a short time. We want security loose items so nothing blows out. And remember your feet at the other end so they don't get wet. That's it. Hang on tight. We'll take off in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Nose falls so they don't get wet. Can you tell I don't like having wet feet? Now as we come into this canal, you'll notice these trees off to the left-hand side growing out of the water. People mistaken those for mangrove trees. Well, they look a lot like mangroves. However, mangroves, they grow in salt brackish water. This is fresh water. These are actually called pond apple trees, P-O-N-D, apple trees. Or we like to call them alligator apple trees, for the mere fact alligators, for some reason, love these apples. I know they're carnivores, but still, they're opportunistic eaters, and they love these apples. These trees bear fruit about May 1st to August 1st. It's a small, orange colored apple. And alligators will wait underneath these trees, snatch them up out of the water as they fall. Or better yet, they can jump vertical out of the water, these at the minimum of half their overall length. So they'll come underneath these trees, they'll see an apple, they'll jump up, grab it off the lower lip, just like a dog taking a treat out of your hand. It's quite a sight to see. Now as we enter this canal, you'll notice the trees on either side, the water marks on them. We're about 5.5 feet low on water right now. So due to a company policy, from here up in that pump house, I'm not allowed to spin around. Because you can poke a hole in this boat and it would not be a good idea out here. So I'll go extra slow. And if we see anything, I can weave back and forth. Now I wish we would have seen more alligators, but really, I think we're pretty lucky to find that one in a 30-minute tour. But however, in that Alligator Boys show, you're going to see between 15 and 19 of these alligators in a pit. There's a big one in there named Hugo. There's also examples of other native animals to the area. We can't predict these wild animals. These plants growing out of the water here, they are called spatterdock plants. They have a yellow bonnet flower on them. They help filter the water, oxygenate it, adjust the pH for a favorable aquatic environment, a lot like that sawgrass. They tell us some depths of water, some contour changes, because these plants won't grow in water deeper than 6 feet. And you see that pump house up at the end there, that pump house we saw at the beginning of the tour? That's one of 219 of these pump houses in South Florida. That one pump house can pump 1.5 billion gallons, that's billion with a B, every 24 hours, or about 900,000 gallons a minute. That's a lot of water. Now during our rainy season, also known as our hurricane season, from June 1st to November 30th, there's days on end where we get a lot of rain in a short amount of time. And all of our coastal cities set so close to sea level elevation. That water accumulates, causes damage. So we try to minimize that flood damage by, if you notice, along every major interstate, county, highway, city, street, even neighborhoods, has some type of drainage, whether it's a ditch, an aqueduct, or a canal. We pump that water out here into the Everglades. It's naturally filtered by the sawgrass, spatterdock, and other vegetation. And upon demand, it's returned into filtration facilities all over South Florida. And the Everglades actually supplies about 8.5 million households and businesses with good household use water, as well as our drinking water. That's a big reason why Everglades is so important in our lives here in South Florida. If anyone that lives in a rural area, they have to use a well because they lack that service. And ground elevation set so close to our water table, it's only like 9 to 15 feet. So there's no displacement for sediment, so there's no filtration. It's full of contaminants, iron, sulfur. It has to be reverse osmosis and filtered. And still, it's not good drinking water, where the Everglades is. We consider it our liquid of life. For any civilization to be successful over any given period of time, the key source is water. And that's what the Everglades is to us. If we take care of the Everglades, we should never experience a drought. I know we have low water level right now, it's high fire danger, but this is normal. We have 1.5 million acres of this water. So that's why it's so important to us. And we protect it so closely, because once we give it up, we'll never get it back. Well, I'm sorry to say our tour is about come to an end. The dock's right here to the right-hand side. We'd like to thank you all for coming out and spending this time with me and giving me the opportunity to take you around the Everglades on a quick tour. hope you understand now a little bit more why they're so important to us, why we protect them, and little tidbits about the animals and wildlife and plants. Would like to let you know that us captains do operate on a lot of the same premises as your bartenders and waitresses. A large portion of our income does depend on tips or gratuity. However, it's not required. But if you do care to leave me and my family, absolutely appreciate it. With that said, we're going to get a little circle in here and we're going to find a place to dock. Be prepared. When we dock, it might make a small bump because we have no brakes or reverse. Please keep your hands inside the boat until I get the boat securely fastened. Don't try to grab that dock, please. I feel awful if you got your hands pinched between the boat and the dock. And I'll let you know when it's safe to get up and move around. Find a reposition the boat and get it tied up securely. And watch your head on that ceiling.
Wow, look at it. Boom.
Oh my God, Ron, you actually brought them all back.
This time. This time. Now, you all haven't been to your alligator show yet, have you?
No.
Oh, you go right up these steps over here and you take a right. And the ones you came down, it's right underneath the awnings right up there. I hope you had a good time. And if you didn't, you gotta get out that side. Now, watch your head when you get out, and if you need help, I'll pull you out of there.
Takes a while to get that big thing moving. He's pretty much like a cheetah. A mortally wounded cheetah. Snoopy, come. Snoopy. 1, 2. I don't even know what comes after 2. Get over here. Come on. Open. 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 He loves Cocoa Puffs. He's still named Cocoa Puffs. Good. Open. Don't get to me. I know you think that sounds scary. It sounds like a shark. Alright, get back in there. I'm gonna tickle you. I'm gonna tickle you. I'm gonna tickle you. Get back in there, you punk. Look at that speed. $50 says you don't make the water. You didn't make the end of the joke. If you're wondering what I'm feeding him, by the way, it's not Cocoa Puffs. It's actually a processed gator food called gator chow. It's like dog food for alligators. It doesn't taste as good as dog food, trust me. I ordered 2 bags of the adult gator food, which is like this big, like these big biscuit looking things. They sent me 1 bag of adult food, 1 bag of this. I'm just trying to get rid of this throughout the day. Normally we would feed them meat, obviously, like chicken or rats, and it's not chicken with decent feathers. Same chicken we eat from the store, same rats that we eat. What, you don't eat rats? Sorry, princess. I didn't realize we had royalty here, Your Highness. This one's too good for rats. I bet you gotta take her to one of those fancy restaurants that make you wear shoes. High maintenance right there, high maintenance. All right, before we get started, I do want to explain a few things about these alligators I use in my gator shows. All the gators you see in this pit are what's known as nuisance alligators, especially you. That means they all came out of somebody's backyard, pond, canal, swimming pool, came off a golf course, ate the neighbor's dog, something like that. If you have a nuisance alligator, a trapper is usually called out. Hopefully for you and your pets, he catches, removes the alligator. It doesn't matter if that alligator is 3 feet or 13 feet. It takes 5 minutes or 5 weeks to charge you the same price every time. That price is nothing. Alligator removal, absolutely free in the state of Florida. Got a raccoon in the attic, about $400. 11-foot alligator in the backyard killing grandma. But don't worry, that's free. We had too many grandmas in here. It's like the first time that joke bombed in 20 years. Oh my God. This is going to be a long show, isn't it? I heard about these. Hey, grandma joke just bombed. Alligator removal is free because the alligator itself is the payment. The trapper gets to keep that alligator, which he then takes to a processing plant where they will kill it and he then gets paid for the valuable meat and hide. That's where you get alligator boots, belts, handbags, wallets, all that kind of stuff. The state of Florida kills about 8,000 nuisance alligators every single year. And usually just because they swam through someone's backyard canal a few times. State of Florida is also very smart. They save a tremendous amount of money, but more importantly for them, they save liability by not hiring and paying a trapper. Just let them keep and harvest the animal. That way, every time a trapper's arm gets ripped off, there's no workman's compensation to worry about, no disability. They scratch some poor redneck's name off the list and get a new trapper. Now, the lucky ones, alligators that is, I will buy off those trappers or I trap myself. I am a licensed trapper here in the state of Florida. And yes, that was my mother's dream for me. The day that I was born in Massachusetts. Very much listened to. I'm one of a very few, in fact, I'm probably the only committed non-kill trapper in the whole state. I know there's not too many non-kill trappers in the state because, quite frankly, not many people are dumb enough to work 30 to 60 hours a week for free. Especially trying to save an animal that would love to rip your face off that first time you meet it. So when I get a gator, they generally come here overnight and then get relocated to wildlife sanctuary down in Homestead. And they can never truly go back to the wild. Any nuisance alligator that exceeds 4 feet in length, according to Florida state law, must be kept in captivity or be destroyed. Only two options. The state tried to relocate these guys in the wild years ago, way back when they were in danger. Back then, if a gator ate a dog, they put him 50 miles out in the Everglades. 2 months later, your new puppy would vanish. Same gator found his way home. They would relocate him a second time to an even more remote location. 4 or 5 months later, you turn around somehow, some way, he's back at the house and won't leave. My sister had a boyfriend like that. No, trust me, him I got rid of. Thanks, guys. Yeah, go ahead and laugh. Make it seem like that didn't really happen. You guys are adorable. Now, what we do in this pit is alligator wrestling, kind of, sort of. There's 3 guys, 1 girl that actually volunteer their time here to do these shows. We're not paid or employed by the park, and that is due to liability again. Same as a trapper. Apparently, all lawyers think alligators are absolutely ferocious. Therefore, the only money we do take in, believe it or not, does go solely through the donation basket you see down the end. On the 2 days a week that I'm here, the money goes to the alligators. And not directly, because I tried that, and you blow it all on gambling and booze. That's why half you are in Florida right now. Now we kind of have this fiduciary relationship where I use it to help pay for their food, vet bills, buy indicators from the other trappers, enclosures for sick and injured animals, equipment to catch these guys. That and my dwindling savings is what essentially funds the whole rescue. Now the alligator wrestling itself, that is not like wrestling on television. Yes, I actually have to say that. Some people really think there's going to be like headlocks and body slams. Young boys in particular get really disappointed. They think I'm going to run around with a folding chair, smashing alligators in the head. Not that kind of wrestling. If you came to see the old man versus beast thing, you ain't in the wrong place. These guys are part of my family in here. We're not going to kick or punch or hurt the alligator in any way. Not going to run around poking, jabbing at him with a stick like some Everbilly. And they are not going to attack us, sorry. All alligator wrestling really is the old Seminole Indian capture techniques mimicked in a pit like this with a few stunts thrown in. Now, because I'm on injured reserve, Kevin's going to come in and grab an alligator because he's stupid. By the way, if you only pay attention to one thing I say throughout this entire show, take wise to this. Please don't ever try to handle a wild alligator the way you see either myself or Devin handling these guys, because you will die. These guys are not wild alligators. They are basically our pets. They're our friends. Doesn't like that one. Batteries are dead. Again, these guys are basically like our pets. They're our friends. They know we're not going to hurt them. Therefore, they're probably not going to bite Devin, even though you guys are allowed because he signed a waiver. Just saying. Now I'm going to be honest, okay? This gator's been dead for 2 weeks. Listen, until he starts to stink, we're going to keep using him. Playing dead is Zeus's best trick. Now, if you were a Seminole warrior, let's say back in the 1800s, and you're out catching alligators, you're doing that to feed your family. But you always wanted to catch them alive. The alligator meat does spoil very quickly in the hot Florida sun. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, tie the jaw shut. A gator this size, well over 2,000 pounds of crushing power per square inch from the jaws. It's enough to crush any bone in your body. So normally a Seminole warrior would bring a friend with him. He would tire the gator out, jump on his back, hold the mouth closed. The friend would come over and tie the mouth shut. Devin, unfortunately, has no friends. So he's going to use an old Seminole technique, holding the jaws closed with his chin in his chest. This will free the hands up. It'll give him time to take out leather or rope, a couple of quick wraps, tie a knot, have himself a caught and giant alligator. Now, judging by the complete lack of applause, I'm assuming you people not really impressed with Devin or the alligator. That was very touching. That was very touching. There's probably nothing better for that kid's ego than pity applause when you really think about it. Briefly, we're going to touch on a few different parts of the alligator's anatomy. The eyes of an alligator are very well protected, very deep eye sockets. Anything threatens the eyes, they just drop into deep hollow sockets out of the way of harm. Thick, leathery eyelids come down to help protect them. Lower eyelids like you and I have, and it also has that third eyelid called a nictitating membrane. It's a little transparent lens you may see move from front to back and back to front. It actually cleans dust and debris away from the eyes, and also kind of acts as goggles for the alligator in the water. The drugs are wearing off. I don't know what to do. People ask it all the time. Are they on drugs? Yeah, drug them and put them in the water. Oh, yeah. Behind the eyes, alligators' ears, little flaps right there. Even with these small ears, they still hear better than you and I on land. They also hear very well with the water. Zeus, you work 9 minutes a day. You have to do one show, Devin has to do it long. Now, between the ears, behind the eyes, located right about there, alligator's brain is about the size of my thumb. They say there's only one animal in the entire world that has a smaller brain to body size ratio, and he's sitting on the alligator's back right now. It's okay to laugh at that joke, I promise you. Devin doesn't understand it. Just tell him how smart you are. The bony plates that you see all over their back, they're called scutes. They are solid bone osteoderms. They do two things for the alligator. Number one, that is armor plating. It protects them from predators and other alligators during the territorial and mating disputes. They also act like little solar panels. When it's cold, these guys lay out in the sun with that dark black skin. The sun beats down, heats up that skin. Each one of those scutes is covered with little blood vessels. That blood will heat up, circulate through the body, increasing the energy and metabolism. And you'll notice I said the skin was black and not green. Because almost every sign, almost every t-shirt, almost every cartoon painting, stuffed animal, rubber toy, high school, college mascot you've ever seen of an alligator, it is almost always green. I'm not too smart, that's not green, that's black. Now what separates alligator wrestling from alligator capture, of course, dangerous stunts, doing a couple of foolish things, we'll have Devin do because he's expendable. First trick's called the Florida Smile, which is simply opening the alligator's mouth, showing all 80 teeth, 40 teeth on top, 40 teeth on the bottom. If you look at the back of his throat, it appears that is still pity applause. If you're looking for Devin after the show, he'll be checking into therapy. It appears he has little to no throat opening. He has an oversized palatal valve or a glottis, allows him to go underwater, capture food without drowning. We usually then surface above the water and swallow that food. You got like 5 golf claps, not bad for you. All right, last trick we're gonna do is what's called the face-off. Because if Devin messes up, his face comes off. And if you're wondering, Devin was not bitten in the face by an alligator, he was just born that ugly. If you say, oh, that means you think he's ugly. If he was good looking, like, it's obviously a joke. This smells amazing, by the way. Get off the alligator. Best part of the show for Devin. Sorry for Zeus, too. Zeus. Come on, Zeus. Zeus is not a big fan. Zeus. He'll probably spit it out. Watch this. Yeah, look. He goes to dinner with you at one of those fancy restaurants and make him wear shoes. I usually just feed him Girl Scout cookies, but I make them with the real Girl Scouts in them. Oh, please. don't feel bad for those kids. They came to my house peddling shortbread cookies. They deserved it. I knew they were Thin Mints in the trunk. By the way, I think we can all agree. Show me 2 kinds of Girl Scout cookies. Thin Mints and Samoas.
Yes.
That's it. That's how you get applause, Devin. Take those s'mores and tag-alongs and those stupid lemon things and do-si-do you ain't up my driveway, kid. While I'm at it, that box of Thin Mints is still mismarked. This one is not a joke. There is a misprint in that box. I've read letters and emails for like 20 years. I'm dead serious. The next time you get a box of Thin Mints, read it carefully. It says something ridiculous like 8 servings. On what planet? There's 2 servings tops. One sleeve in the other. And if you're home alone and that box is in the freezer, who are you kidding? That whole box is 1 serving. All right, guys. With that is the end of the show. Again, anything you put in the basket down there does go to help save more. They're great alligators, just like Zeus. Always do appreciate that. Also, if you want to grab one of the contact cards, check out my YouTube channel, all the social media as well. You see what some of these guys were rescued from, how they were captured, some of the training I put them through, things like that. Just learn more about the rescue. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
Right, alligator, and a live one is swimming right here. Big turtle. Rabbit. They eat vegetable.